I dreaded my birthday this year because I just didn't think I was where I was supposed to be at 31. I thought by now I would have everything figured out. The perfect career, the dream house, maybe have a family. But instead, I just kept comparing myself. It made me feel like I wasn't where I was supposed to be. It made me feel behind and feel really shitty about myself. I let these shoulds take over my mind, and up until my 31st birthday, I was spiraling. I was having a self-induced existential crisis, being like, oh my gosh, have I just wasted my entire life? Am I a huge failure? All these spirally thoughts that are not helpful. The day before my birthday, I sat myself down and I was like, Selena, we are going to journal. We are going to get to the bottom of this, because I knew that I had made the conscious, willing, and very excited decision to go against the grain of society, because society usually tells you, go to school, graduate school, get a job, climb the corporate ladder, settle down, buy a house, have kids, do all the things. I had a very small sliver of window where I could be unapologetically selfish. I was in a very privileged position where I didn't have a mortgage, I didn't have kids, and didn't have a lot of responsibilities. I could do whatever I wanted. Me and my partner talked about this, but we both know we want to start a family. And so as a result of that, I have this sliver of window before I then have to be responsible for another person. Because of that, we moved halfway across the world. We moved to London, and it's been the best 3.5 years of my life. It's been the best decision I've ever made, but it was a very active and conscious decision to go against the grain of society. Now at 31, I feel older, even though 31 is still a young age, but I do feel a little bit older. And as a result of that, this birthday really hit hard that I'm fully in my 30s. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm not where I'm supposed to be. But the journal session really helped ground me and realize that I made this very active, conscious, and deliberate decision to stray against the traditional path and pursue something that I wanted to do. I knew that if I didn't do that, if I decided not to move abroad, if I decided to just settle down, I would regret it for the rest of my life. I am so glad I did it, because in my more calm self, I also realized that I have the rest of my life to have a mortgage. I have the rest of my life to have these children. And I know for women, we often think about our biological clock and stuff, and I'm not discounting that at all. I do think it's really important that you are aware of what your egg count and egg quality is at. And I recently did an extremely important podcast interview with Dr. Stasia Stankovic, and I'm going to link it because she talked all about things that we don't talk about because it's stigmatized, underrepresented, and underfunded when it comes to women's health. But we talked about early menopause. We talked about the realities of IVF and what you can do to better prepare yourself in your body if you do want to have children and you have a high-stress job and all that stuff. So it's such an important episode, and I highly recommend you listen to it. Recording that episode, not going to lie, made me spiral, because in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, I have so much time to start a family. I'm still young in my 30s, and my mom had my sister at 39, and my sister is like a child prodigy, okay? Went to an Ivy League school, is so athletic, so smart, all the things, super tall as well. So I was like, if my mom can have my sister at 39, anything's possible. Obviously, every single body is different. All this said, it just adds a lot of pressure for women. It's like, if you want to figure out your career, if you want to have kids, if you want to be your own full person, do all the selfish things you want to do, and have your life together, have a social life, all this stuff. Basically, that is what I was grappling with. I was grappling with the fact that on one hand, I felt so happy, grateful, and privileged that I carved out this space and time for myself. But on the other hand, I was like, ooh, I don't have any societal milestones under my belt that can prove that I got something out of this. This was so interesting to me because I still have down days like everyone else, but overall, I feel like I am the most content, I am the most at peace, I am the healthiest and happiest I've ever been, but I also don't have as many accolades to show for it. My entire life growing up, I was always chasing external validation or external markers of success. I think a big portion of that is growing up with Asian immigrant parents, where they, of course, are concerned about their immigrant children's futures. So it was like trying to win piano competitions, getting the next level in piano. I was doing really well at school, getting into university, doing well in university, getting coveted internships, getting coveted jobs, getting promotions. It was just chasing external validation after external validation. And it comes to a point where you realize that, yes, those can be helpful markers and milestones to aim towards when you feel like you're not sure what to do next. On the other hand, you do have to step back and think about, is this actually for me? Am I doing this because I actually enjoy it, or I'm getting something out of it, or am I just doing it because I'm lost in life? I don't know what to do. And this is going to look great on paper, or this is going to please my parents, or looked good on LinkedIn. All this to say, I'm in this phase where I just actively rejected a lot of external validation and was just very much so like, no, I'm just going to do what makes me happy. So long as I feel fulfilled, so long as I know what I'm doing, and so long as it's aligned with my values and my goals, I'll be fine with that. And I'm still very much so trying to do a lot more internal validation first and not trying to chase accolades or chase things that look good on paper because, like I mentioned, I had so many phases and seasons of my life where all I was doing was chasing accolades and chasing things that looked good on paper, but I felt so stressed and miserable and empty inside. In this new era of living in Europe, living in London, I wanted to explore what it could look like if I stayed true to myself and what I wanted to do. All this to say, I made an active, conscious decision to try to do something different for the past 3.5 years of my life. Live my best life, do things that made me happy, do things that would help my growth and my learning and my development, and not just do things that would look good on paper. As a result of that, like I mentioned, I feel like I don't have that much to show for it on paper. But as I was journaling, I realized that's not the case at all. The past 3.5 years, we have built some of the deepest, most meaningful, and valuable friendships I have ever had in my life. There's so many friendships I have from back home that I cherish so deeply, and I value those connections and those relationships. But there's something so special about a global city like London where so many different people and so many different walks of life from all over the world congregate to it. And London is an expensive city. It's definitely a city where you need to hustle, have a good career, you need income coming in. As a result of that, it attracts a lot of motivated people that are ambitious, that are just really cool people. Just reflecting on the community we've built here, it's been so special. I'm definitely going to record some sort of living abroad recap in the future because we are moving back. This birthday allowed me to realize the connections and the relationships and what I've learned from every single person we've met here is something that's so invaluable and it's going to be something I take with me for the rest of my life. In that sense, I do have something to quote unquote show for it, but it's not like you can go on LinkedIn and be like, I have all these friends I've made and we tell each other everything and we support each other, we create safe spaces for each other, we actively listen to each other. That's just weird, you know? Something that makes me happy. I feel very internally fulfilled and validated by it, but it's just something that I couldn't talk about or even be proud of because it almost was something that just was a given. But I've now realized how special and how precious something like that is. So that's something that I am really, really grateful for. Another thing that I'm grateful for is all the personal growth and the development I've been able to gain just from living abroad. I've become so much more independent. I've become so much more sure of myself. And I feel like I've grown into my adulthood. It's not like I was an adult in my 20s, but I do think I was very much so a newly formed adult that was stumbling my way through life, trying to learn things, trying to do things. And I do think I did have a bit of a naivety that I've outgrown a little bit. And I'm not cynical or anything now, but I just have a broader worldview. I really do think that comes from moving away from home. It doesn't have to be halfway across the world, but moving away from home, setting up your community, setting up your connections, figuring things out, just being on your own. And so, yeah, I feel like it's really grown and shaped me. With that whole journaling session, I also made a really big gratitude list, reminding myself that while I'm not checking off milestones that society tells you should be checking off in your 30s, I still feel so fulfilled. One of the things I'm so grateful for is I am engaged. I'm going to be marrying the love of my life in a year. And I am really, really happy and so grateful we met. He is such an amazing person. He's so intelligent. He's so smart. He's so caring. He's so kind. And he's so emotionally intelligent as well, which I think is quite rare for heterosexual men. But yeah, he's such a special guy. And I feel like we support each other so beautifully now. And of course, there's still things we work through and there's times where there's conflict. But overall, I'm really proud of how we have been able to support each other as we both moved halfway across the world and had to reestablish our foundation and our lives together. So that's something I'm really, really grateful for. I'm also so grateful that over the past 3.5 years, I have traveled so much. I've traveled all over Europe. I've been to so many different cities. And in my living abroad recap, I'm totally going to talk about some of my favorite places I've traveled to. But I've been to Italy, I've been to France. I've seen your underpants. I'm just kidding. But I've just been to so many different places. I also carved out this time to pursue my business and my career. While it didn't pan out exactly how I thought it would, if you watch my career pivot video or any of my other content lately, I've learned and grown so much from it. Having this time to concentrate and focus on entrepreneurship, being a better business owner, building something I really care about, that's something I'm really grateful for. And then, of course, like I mentioned, creating such an amazing community of friends in London. While London is such a beautiful city, if we didn't have the friends we have, it wouldn't make the city as special. And it's so cheesy. It's like the people make your home or the people are what makes the city, but I think it's so true. Now I wanted to do a bit of a visual diary about what I got up to for my birthday this year, because it was the last time I would probably be in London celebrating my birthday for the foreseeable future. I really wanted to do all the things I wanted to do. We started with doing a hike over the weekend at Seven Sisters, which is so beautiful. You can take the train from London and it's not too cumbersome. It's about 2 hours-ish, depending on which transfers you get and where you're based from. But it's basically this cliff, and I've never seen geography like this before. It was so beautiful. It was a bit of a cloudy, overcast day, so I imagine when it's sunny, it's even more spectacular. Even cloudy, it was so cool. But the one thing was, it was so windy. There were some parts where I literally thought we were gonna get blown off the cliff and die. And so if it is really, really windy when you're going, just be careful. Don't go too close to the cliffs. But it's also funny because there were so many seagulls, and even the seagulls were struggling with the wind. And I got the shot of the seagull where it looks like the seagull's drunk. Yeah, it was just such a special day, and I was able to gather some friends from different friend groups, which is always fun when your friends from different friend groups meet and then they connect, because obviously the common denominator is you. And if you get along with them separately, obviously they're likely going to get along together. And then on my actual birthday, it was a Tuesday, so did some work, FaceTimed my family, and then we went for a sushi dinner with our close friends in London. These are our ride or die friends. I love every single one of them so much. And sushi is my favorite food. Sushi is expensive in London, and also the seafood in London's definitely not as good as the seafood in Vancouver. And then a couple other birthday celebrations. My friend John, he gifted me and my partner Operation Mincemeat tickets. And John got us second row tickets, which was insane. Usually me and Richard, we try to be cost conscious with things so that we can go to more things. And so instead of splurging and getting really good seats, we'll usually be in the nosebleeds, which is fine. You can still see things, but second row, you can see their faces and it's such a different experience. But we definitely got spoiled, and I feel like I can't go back up in the nosebleeds anymore. I just can't, Operation Mincemeat was such a good musical. I thought it was so funny. It's about World War II and one specific instance that the Brits played in. I'm not going to say much more than that because I don't want to spoil it, but even though it was such a heavy topic, World War II, it was still so funny and so well done, and highly recommend it if you're ever in London. And then I had a really nice Persian dinner with my friends Alex and John. I have been so obsessed with Persian food, and it's so good. The flavors in Persian food are insane. I don't know what spices they put in it. I don't know what herbs they put in it, but it's so tasty. But yeah, this Persian place was really, really good. And then Alex gifted us some skincare, which is really nice. From all of this, I just feel so grateful and so full from the life that I've built here, from the community, the friends, the memories, experiences, the learnings. It just feels so full. And so actually, upon reflecting, I am exactly where I'm supposed to be at 31. I am healthier, happier, more fulfilled. And so, like I said, there's always time to go back to society's timeline or whatever it is and check off milestones. And what I've realized is you do have the rest of your life to check off milestones if you choose to do so. If you also don't want to, that's totally fine. It's not a big deal. But the thing is, you don't have the rest of your life to do what you want to do right now. That's the thing. I hope that this gives you some inspiration and a bit of a reframe, because if you're like me and you're hard on yourself and you're like, I don't know if I am where I thought I would be, or I feel like I should have done more, I hope this inspires you to sit down, take stock of where you're at, take stock of what you can be grateful for, take stock of how much you have grown, And then just sit in that. Upon reflection, you're not happy with where you're at, or you feel like you could do more, then be gentle, be kind, be compassionate with yourself, and make a plan to get to where you want to go. There's been a lot of birthdays in my 20s where I just had this dream to move abroad, but I just didn't know how I was going to do it. So I just made a plan and I made it happen. I hope that me sharing this allows you to feel less alone. If you feel like you're not where you're supposed to be, or you feel like you're behind in life, I want you to comment one thing you're super proud of that you've accomplished on your journey so far. It could be something you did yesterday. It could be something you did last week. It could be something you've done in the past year or the past couple years, whatever it is. But I want you to comment down below, and let's celebrate together the intentional and unintentional detours that make up our life and make up our story. I'm super proud of you, and I'll see you in the next video.